Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
All right, everyone. Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. This is episode BETA7 0xb7. It's the 184th episode. And reminder, nothing on the show is financial advice. And stay tuned after the updates for beginning of the month, full AMA. Right now, current events are none, and there's a Dow vote to change out that segment. So we'll talk about that a little later. First, last week's distribution from Super Happy Dragon Lucky for Dragonchain lot. 420 lot NFTs were created. There were 2 questions or topics for 105 lot each. Host received 105 lot and Dragonchain received 105 lot. There is also the Super Happy Dragon Lucky DAO. There is a vote to shutter or remove the current event segment. There's also an alternative idea that we will discuss in the featured posts after the AMA. So stay tuned for that. And that's it. The featured post will cover there. Okay, so Den.Social updates. We have the February 2023 LCP proposal phase starting day was today. Per a DAO vote in the past, the winners will be the number 1 layer as ranked by unique voters, the number 8 layer as ranked by lore committed, and the number 21 layer as ranked by lore committed. Also, do watch the DAO show. We'll probably go through and look at which layer proposals are where, and maybe even get some discussion about what we might vote on ourselves. The proposal phase will run for 1 week. Make sure, if you can, that your proposal isn't an exact duplicate of something that's already out there. If it's close, maybe talk to them and see if there's room to consider merging them, whatever, or put it out there. It doesn't matter. But all proposals should be entered by next Monday, February 13, and the commitment phase will start on Tuesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, at 1500 UTC, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. And let's see here. We had some downtime on Den, which was part of the migration. So apologies for that. It was unexpected. There was a failure in one of the systems that we don't have everything fully moved and fully backed up yet. So, just hopefully you accept our apologies for that, and we'll just keep moving along. We're getting, speaking of migration, we're getting further and further along, and we still have some things to do with, backups and a couple of other, like say, failover systems and things like that would have solved that issue. So anyway, there's that. Let's see here. Coffee with Den, airing tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, 6 a.m. Pacific time. Everyone who participates in the show will earn lot NFTs for the Coffee with Den layer. This week, Dave is planning to talk about video games and storytelling, so it should be interesting. Then we go to DAO updates. So join us for the weekly call, which is the DAO call on Thursday, February 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Watch for the post in the DAO layer for the agenda and link to join live. everyone's welcome to join. It's just a meeting. You don't have to turn your camera on. It's just to make quick discussions and to brainstorm on anything that might come up. So join if you can, watch otherwise. Now we go to the World Blockchain Roundtable updates. So the Roundtable DAO has a suggestion post for themes for the month of March. So leave your idea for a theme that isn't in there or hasn't been covered or would be interesting or that you would like to know more about related to blockchain. It's the Blockchain Roundtable, and make sure you leave your reply to that post by Monday, the 13th of February, after which the top ranked ones will be added to a DAO vote and will get selected for the March shows. So watch and share last week's episode on weaponizing blockchains to fight tyranny. The more views that it gets this first week, the more all the participants will get, question takers, topic and hosts. And episode 90 will be this Thursday, February 2 at 11 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. The topic is censorship-resistant, decentralized cloud computing using blockchain. So very powerful topic, and one that a lot of people don't know enough about yet. So join and learn or ask questions. Make sure you actually leave any questions you might have on that or subjects related if you can. Although we did have a vote that you can leave topics or subjects that are unrelated in case you have something that you need to get answered. Anyway, so that is it for the updates. So we have the AMA right after this.
Yeah. Young Satoshi. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Dragonchain, 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 Dragonchain. Mine 10 blocks on the blockchain. My ETH father for the got paid. These dragons selling like they hotcakes. We go to the moon like we don't got breaks. If you want to transact on a marketplace, Dragonchain, Dragonchain, Dragonchain. Dragonchain, 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 Dragonchain. Mine 10 blocks on the blockchain. My ETH father for the got paid. These dragons selling like they hotcakes. We going to the moon like we don't got breaks. If you want to transact on a marketplace, Dragonchain, Dragonchain, Dragonchain. My ETH costs more than your rent. I saw my life savings get a 10. Dragons get the hottest coming next. Me and Joe Rose make a bet. All this shit seem new to me. Fix a blockchain with security. Keeping data safe is the fluency. How could you not fuck with the company?
All right, so we go to the AMA refresh it for the latest questions. All right, and I'm in here. So, okay, refresh here. All right, so first up is Alxons, I believe. Okay. Good news has come out this week regarding the SEC Ripple case. Could you give an update on the SEC-Dragonchain situation? We weren't sure which good news. There was something in the past 24 hours related to the library case that the judge ruled, and I'm not a lawyer, so if this is incorrect, I apologize, but apparently the judge ruled in favor of John Deaton's motion or proposal or something, whatever it is, that sales of library tokens on exchanges are not sales of securities. So that's interesting and valuable. The other stuff was on Ripple, but I don't know precisely what you're asking about. But either way, we can give an update. Right now, we're going through the motions, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but there were a few back and forth things that, as I understand it, are normal and procedural. So a lot of boring stuff right now, a lot of legalese going on. We filed our response, which was effectively on all points applicable to deny what was asserted or charged or whatever in their suit. So there were a lot of them that, in our opinion and factually, were very incorrect. Some of them by context that, I think they just don't understand some of the technical details or implications of what Dragonchain is and what it does, and what we've done. But in others, there were very incorrect assertions. So anyway, we posted that. They had some motion to strike, a couple of answers, which, again, it's very detailed points that the lawyers go back and forth on. Nothing so far significant to report, except that, as long as I understand it correctly, and given that these things are very up in the air and hard to know for sure, they did tell me that we would likely expect to see depositions in summer, or the procedures surrounding depositions, whatever happens with that in summer, and then trial either end of year or beginning of next. So if you can imagine waiting another freaking year for it, it's kind of crazy, but whatever. So good question. Jacob Wayne, and we'll try to give updates when there's anything important, or when we need you guys to help us with research, or help us with anything of the above, or even in, for one thing, right now, go and sign the stuff that Deaton has out there on. We've all signed it, because I think the things that they're trying to do make a lot of sense, but it's essentially sending letters to Congress, because they should have already provided clear law for this, because obviously others, the regulators, are all over the place. So anyway, next up, Jacob Wayne, what is your personal favorite upcoming feature for Den, and why? I think mine is cross-posting, and that's a really, really good one that I do agree. Cross-posting would be radically valuable in a lot of cases. Constantly, I'm thinking, this, I would cross-post even some of the things that other people have posted into other layers, let alone my own content. So we need to get that soon. I don't think it'd be too bad, but the big picture of it, we have a full design. So for me, I'm not going to give you one, because that's really hard. I don't know which one of these would actually be my favorite, but kind of ranked by what I think would cause the most effective behavior changes, which is what I'm after, would be the lot behavior algorithm modification, wherein you would be your matter rewards for lot held. So if you hold lot of a certain layer, and you get matter mined from activity in that layer, that amount will be directly affected by your participation in that layer. So effectively, you're making content, posts, replies, chatting in the layer even, but most importantly, applying energy to curate the content in that layer. So if you consider it as a competition with other lot holders in that layer, that you would be competing to hold your own. And the beauty is, people who might hold less lot than you could produce more matter, simply because they're in competition. They're doing a lot more than you are to curate that community. So it would affect me a lot, and it would probably actually even affect my behavior, because right now I try, but a lot of times I don't get in on a certain day, especially in some layers. So unless I see content in there, right? But I don't, a lot of times I don't actively go into like the history layer or the politics layer or the memes layer as I should. So that would help. That would probably be the biggest. The second that I have down, I wrote these out because there's so many things I could probably go on for hours, but behavior LP, liquidity pools. And this is an external thing. It would probably be set up by somebody on the outside, or even, if any of you are interested, in taking part in this, it would be helpful to have someone independent set this up, and essentially Den would act as an oracle, so that people who would normally provide liquidity independently in Uniswap or something would instead provide it here, but they would get better value, as would people who are buying or selling matter would get better value based upon their behavior in Den. So not only then would you, if you do all the right things inside of Den, would you get a bigger governance vote, which already is in place, probably that same metric, and maybe some extra info, especially when the upcoming layer metrics and leaderboard are in place, but that would directly affect your price when you're buying or selling matter and lore and whatever else. So super interesting stuff. The next would be the lot swap, where effectively, if I want to be more keyed into a community, I can get some of that lot. And there are a couple of things, if we do the lot behavior modification, that we would have to answer about the lot swap, because it would make the measurement of matter to lot value would be affected by that behavior. So we'd have to figure out, do we include that or not? And there are a couple of reasons that maybe in a DEN-DAO call, maybe soon we can get over that. The next would be cross posting, right? So, but there are a lot more than that. So anyway, it's a good set. And maybe another one to mention that would help all of these would be setting aside the time after we get a few more of these things done to open source the project, and then to convert the DEN-DAO to provide bounties for people building or contributing to the code base itself. That would be a massive, massive aid to all of it, because we would potentially bring in a lot more resources to get a lot more done all at once. So anyway, great question, Jacob. So thank you very much. Next, we go to IM4IM, and we can see, is that his profile? I don't know if that's his profile. I'd have to see. But either way, question: if 1 million people log into Den.Social every day, interacted with the site, posting new content, evaluating content, what 2 or 3 unique things could we learn about human behavior? One thing that would be pretty remarkable would be how many, I imagine it's some subset, some small portion of the population that would delve deep into the algorithms and find holes, find ways that they can improve their rewards, right? So it's an interesting thing, because I do think that that's a primary value to what we call a behavior system, which is what Den is. I consider Den to be a reference implementation of a behavior system, or what we're now starting to call behavior marketplace AI, where essentially these group of people all participate and compete to do something, which as a byproduct delivers something to the whole, which is in this case the curation of better content. And I think by and large, you can, and they very much, the different layers obviously produce different levels of value or quality, right? But you can see that even with a really small, a sparse population of people in each layer, that the content is definitely ranked well. That if you go to the trending content, it will very consistently deliver you the best content, devoid of the drama or trolling, and also devoid of fluff, right? So it's not, and I think that if you had millions of people in there, that would even be stretched further, which is the point of it, that we're not just wanting to push content up that's good, we're also wanting to pull content down that's bad so we can pull it apart and essentially like providing a better dynamics to the system. And with that many people, you're going to have a smoother distribution. Right now, it's because it's some layers, if there aren't enough people and there's not enough content, the difference between the mediocre content and the good content is quite far, right? That it's very it's not that smooth of a curve. So anyway, I think that's probably the biggest thing you'd see, and we'd have more data, so we could probably more. I don't know if it'd be faster or not. It could be, depending upon how we pull the data apart. But we could probably, especially if we open source it, have more proposals, have better testing, and have more ability to determine whether an algorithm change will be good or not, right? I mean, theoretically, you could do A/B testing. You could have some people who view the site voluntarily on a latest version of the algorithms that are have more improvement. But anyway, in the end, I think that's what you'd get. You'd get better data, more data. And we would have the bad along with the good, and it would, probably the most interesting thing to me would be how what percentage of the population is going to participate in a way that is intentionally negative, right? So we don't get a lot of that, although it kind of stands out when we do, when we have people brigading or doing anything like that. But it's not been that bad, frankly, especially for crypto projects. It's been very interesting. And I would say even on a small scale, it works. And I think as you've said yourself before, I am, that on a scaled system where you have scaled adoption, that it would only improve, right? Or at least mostly improve. You might have some parts that get worse, but they would be directly identifiable, and you would be able to address them with algorithmic behavior answers. So anyway, awesome. Let's see here. I'm going to go up, and this is an uncredited before we get to the featured content, but yes. So this is non-credited, but Altcoin Bonanza asks, is Dragonchain considered a layer 1 platform or Web3? What type of platform is Dragonchain? So those are marketing terms that appear from nowhere. And when we first started, the term layer 1 did not exist. The term layer, that did not exist. Everyone was saying, "Oh no, this will scale. It will scale as it is," and we were saying, "It won't. You can't do work like a typical system does. Let's say a financial system, a telco system, any type of a system has a large amount of data or a large number of transactions, would never be able to run on the blockchains that were around when Dragonchain was first brought into Disney in 2014, let alone in 2016, let alone in 2017 when we actually came out commercial, and let alone now. You still couldn't, on Ethereum, for example, run any what I would call a real system in the enterprise. So you can run games, you can run toys, things like that. You can run trading stuff, although it's expensive and inefficient. But there are some times that you do want something that is that, right? So Dragonchain is a hybrid blockchain platform. Depending upon the slice of Dragonchain you're looking at, it is a layer 1. We have several customers that use Dragonchain as a layer 1, and we have a couple that are very focused on using it as a native layer 1 platform, where it would have secondary verifications that might hit other chains, other consensus mechanisms. So it's a really interesting thing then that you could consider it a layer 1. By default, it is not a fully decentralized layer 1. So your layer 1 is your own. You can do several things to decentralize it, or more likely, if you're a real business, to decentralize the parts of data that you need to decentralize. And the reason it's like that is because if you have your blockchain, I found very early on, even before Disney, that the vast majority of applications that you would want to apply a blockchain to don't require full and complete decentralization, which, by the way, none of the blockchains, even Bitcoin, actually provide anyway. But ideally, they try, right? And they get pretty closer than anything else. But what we built, what I designed way back then was essentially something that would break the game that everyone was playing by saying, look, this is my data. I definitely don't want my customers' data. I don't want my proprietary data. I don't want my security data, financial data, medical data out there. There's no reason for it to be decentralized. What I need is for the proof of the state of that data, or the proof of the event, or the proof of the thing to be decentralized. So that as soon as possible, and as quickly as possible and as scalable as possible, I want to be able to take everything that happens on my system and put it on chain, on my own chain, and then share it with whoever it needs to be shared with. Like, say, I could give it to my customer and prove, no, this is what happened. This is what we said. This is what you said. This is what we both agreed to, whatever else. And that person can independently prove that you're giving them the actual real record. Even if they remember differently, they can prove it, and they can, all of the things that we do with that. It's super interesting. At the same time, if there's some part of that data, some transaction type or specific type of data, I could put it on some decentralized storage system like Siacoin, Filecoin, IPFS, something else, and augment the capabilities of my Dragonchain blockchain that way. So Web3, it integrates with Web3. I don't know. Web3 is, again, it's a marketing term, so I don't know. It definitely is Web3. I don't know if it's if there's some sub-classification that you might put it on, but we integrate and are able to. We were probably one of the first groups that even did proof that you own an address without you having to give me any access, or a smart contract, which could be aired, any access to your tokens or value or anything else. So there's some beauty behind that. We did a bunch of very, very early stuff there. So, okay, let's see here. The featured post we have is from, again, I am for I am. I am for I am's profile with beard. It's funny. Okay, so I have an idea on what could replace the current events portion of the week's show. So Super Happy Dragon Lucky Current Events. What if the host picked one item in the news media, current thing, whatever else, and made suggestions to how blockchain or Dragonchain or Den.Social or other could be a solution, or could have prevented the bad, evil current thing from occurring, right? So this is an awesome idea. I think it's probably a better form of current events, and maybe it wouldn't be every week. And by the way, I would suggest there just needs to be one more person next week who votes for the current thing layer, and we will be able to turn it on, even if it doesn't rank, because I'm just going to put in a matter to turn it on. So, but we have to have 8. We only have 7. So theoretically, we could pull from there, or pull from world news layer, or somewhere else. And maybe if we have some rule that we have to pull it from one of these places, and then we could say, here is how blockchain could be applied to solve it, to have prevented it, or at least to make it transparent, or whatever else, to improve the situation. right? So that would be great. And so I'd like to see this go for a vote. So if you don't put it in, somebody else should, but and I'm willing to if you want me to. So let me know what you think there, and I'll vote on it. I'll vote for it. So it should be good. I'm all for it. I have a decent amount of super happy lot, so we can make it happen. All right. So let's see here. That is all. So that's the only featured post. So you get credited there. So this starting this month, merch, Dragonchain family crest merch, anything with the crest, and I think you can search for crest or family crest in the Dragonchain.Store site with the coupon code family-crest. Gets 10% off this month. Again, Dragonchain.Store, go and buy that. Also, we should consider if anybody wants to make any changes to the crest. There was the whole design was intended to be changeable. It's a Fibonacci pattern all the way down, so you could keep it going. So anyway, next, watch Super Happy Dragon Lucky again next week, 11 a.m. Eastern for UTC on Tuesday. Make sure you watch the World Blockchain Roundtable this Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC. Make sure you follow Dragonchain, Real Denizens, and Jojo Row on Twitter and Den and LinkedIn and everywhere else. Like, comment, share. That's it. Thank you.
Now, more than ever, our data is at risk. Our supply chains are in jeopardy. Our systems are broken, and businesses feel powerless. Dragonchain gives you a different way, a safer way, a better way, and you have power over your data. Dragonchain gives you proof in an untrusted world. Build now at dragonchain.com. America's blockchain.